All right, from some guru highlights from Frank 26. In my opinion, the budget that is now going to receive an official exchange rate from a sovereign country that will be shown to under Article 8. You can see very clearly that the action of many countries, many companies, they're casting a shadow of the monetary reform. They're not going to come out and tell you, hey, guess what? They told us they're going to raise the value of their currency because they can't. It's illegal to do that. A good forensic detective can walk into a room and tell you basically what's happened in the last 24 hours in that room by interpreting the signs, the clues, the patterns. The monetary reform itself is naked, it's visible. All right, Bruce, via Wiser Now, there have been over 1,100 arrests in the last several days there. There have been bankers, financial people, Iranian sympathizers have all been arrested and removed from the scene. This was done in 4 major cities. These arrests needed to happen, and they also, I think, paved the way for us to move forward. So, in other words, with that done, and the rate for the dinar going into the Gazette and being internationally seen on Saturday, I think basically that takes Iraq and we can maybe close the chapter on Iraq. All right, militiaman, with all we know and understand, the exchange rate has not thus far gone in the direction we have been hoping and praying for, or has it? The powers that be have been working for years to get the country of Iraq to reconstruct and get back to a rightful place in her region and the world. But we can see the progress on many fronts over the past 4 to 5 years now. More recently, we see a laundry list of crucial items, mechanisms coming together to facilitate the birth of a new nation of Iraq. One that is to have an advancement to their internal and external systems like no other possibly in history, or at least our lifetimes, with or in respect to the Iraq Marshall Plan. This new plan is going to be vastly different in nature from previous era Marshall Plans of the world. The previous were industrial in nature primarily. This one will have an industrial nature, of course, but with a new and improved digital component to it. That road is transparency. The new system requires it. The digital world they'll begin to live with looks to be with the USA. Help is to go live on May 1st, 2021, digitally for both dinar and the dollar. To do that, interconnectivity is to be international. Article 8 compliant. Cross-border payments and settlements for trade require it, in my opinion, so with having the e-gov, e-commerce, e-borders, and new e-currency, we should see an exchange rate change at all or before the rollout of the digital playing field they suggest is to roll out May 1st. I am very optimistic. Let's see what the day brings us, in my opinion. All right, Frank 26, the CBI is about to go on a massive advertising campaign about the monetary reform inside Iraq. Television commercials, newspaper ads, billboards. There's going to be CBI workshops. The CBI will rent out big auditoriums, gymnasiums. They'll set up table. We'll like to explain to you what's going on. Caparoni, an article came out from economic advisor Saleh stating Iraq cannot float the dinar because it's using the daily currency auctions. He mentions several reasons. This is true. They cannot float while they continue to use the currency auctions. Iraq is only one of a few, if even that, left in the world using a currency auction. Central banks manage their currency by freedom of movement of capital and supply and demand, selling blocks of currency to balance the exchange rate on the global financial system. Remember, the currency auction was created not only to maintain stability, but to provide a source of dollars to merchants in Iraq because the dinar had not been recognized internationally for trading and exchange. Not only the dinar, but the financial system in Iraq was completely rebuilt from the ground up. That is why they went into IMF article and giving them several years to build confidence and stability prior to accepting the article engaging with world financial system. We expect the currency auctions to end when they accept IMF Article 8. They will end the auctions and begin to float the currency, which will contribute to the success growth of the private sector market. All right, Frank 26 says they will soon raise the 1-to-1, which is Article 8, which is international status. leaving at 1460 and they can go international at 1460 is not going to draw any attention to give the currency of Iraq more potential growth. What is extremely important is what happens to the rate internationally from 1 to 1 outside of Iraq for you. You've got to know when to hold them, when to fold them. It's the real effective exchange rate that you and I seek. We already know it's going to be 1 to 1. They have articles that told us so. The pendulum swing is now going in the direction of the exchange rate that is coming, in my opinion. All right, lastly, Sandy F. Norv Guru Caparoni is right in that no country could ever revalue in the way suggested, in particular Iraq. He also wrong in trying to make out that there would be any benefit to floating the currency. No country has ever been forced into a flotation that has gained value in the short term. The guru BS continually refers to Kuwait, but that is fake news. There never was any RV in Kuwait. During the occupation, Iraq replaced KWD with the IQD as the national currency. The Central Bank of Kuwait went into exile and continued business as best it could. After the occupation, the KWD was reinstated as the national currency at the same value it had before. Anyone interested in what actually happened should read the document, The Impact of the Iraqi Invasion on the Kuwaiti Banking and Financial System, Lessons Learned from a Financial Crisis.